Hey up, I'm Alex, I'm a Knight Digidestined, and this video will hopefully cover everything that you need to know about the Digimon X. You better believe it, ladies and gentlemen, our prayers have finally been answered. The Digimon X has been released in English. Now this is particularly exciting because the Digimon X series, in my opinion, is the absolute best of all modern Digimon devices. So to have it released in English, mass produced and recommended retail price of $20, it's brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant. This means that more people can finally enjoy what I believe is the best of all Digimon devices since the Pendulum 1998. So yeah, for the purpose of this video, I will be assuming this is your first ever look at a Digimon VPET because I want this to be a perfect place for beginners to start out their journey into an exciting new world. Right, first bit, the box. So this is the red version. There are currently two versions and the versions are distinguished by the colour of the X. This one with the red X and there's another one with a blue X, and I've gone for the badass black and red colours. The difference between the version blue and the version red is the Digimon that appear in them. They each have their own individual roster of Digimon. Some appear in both, but typically they are exclusive to either of the devices. And on the red version you can see Wargreymon X and Beelzemon X. On the side we've got the logo looking sick. On the back they're showing off that you can connect with your Digimon 20th. There's new battle system, train 3 Digimons, new quest mode, power dice system. So I do want to talk about this a little bit. It's kind of misleading. So train 3 Digimons would imply that you've got 3 Digimon on screen. That's not the case. You've only got 1 active Digimon and you have the ability to back up 2 Digimon. So here this guy's got Omnimon X, and in backup he's got Metal Tyrannomon and Tobu Catmon. When you back up a Digimon you can bring it out and swap it with your current one. So you've kind of got 3 Digimon, but you're not really raising them at the same time, if that makes sense. And that's the other thing I just want to talk about. This little sample window here, again, kind of implies that you've got 2 Digimon on screen. That is not the case. This is a clip from a battle, so this is an Agumon X rocking up to battle with a Tokomon X. This isn't you raising an Agumon X and a Tokomon X on screen at the same time. Just to make that clear. Cool! So you open the box and this stuff slides out. You've got instructions, but you don't need these because I'm going to explain it all to you. And you've got it in loads of different languages. And then this bit pops off. Here it is. Pretty cool. And just for comparison, this is the Japanese version. So this is how the Japanese packaging looks. Really cool, a lot more edgier than ours. We've gone for a more like nostalgic feel, whereas this is like a more modern feeling thing. Again, we've got Wargreymon X as the poster boy and cool stuff on the back. Okay, next up I'm going to go through the menus. I am joined today by my glamorous assistant, Sangloopmon. Sangloopmon is a champion level. He's known as the Blood Wolf. He is a vampire dog. So you can scroll through the menus by using the A button. A will scroll you through whatever menu you're in, and B will select, and C will cancel. First menu we come to is parameters. On the first page we can see the Digimon's icon and their name in English. A or B to scroll through. The next page you come to shows their age and their weight. He's 2 years old and he weighs 32 Gs. Next along, his hunger. So all these hearts are black, which means they're all full. These fill up in halves, so 1 meat equals half a hunger heart. Same again with the strength, but this time you fill this up by either feeding him a pill or by training him successfully. Next up is effort. Now effort measures how much training you've done. 4 training will fill up 1 effort heart, and once they're full, they stay full until your Digimon evolves to the next stage. Next up here we can see their attribute and their stage. So the top one, VI, means he's a virus type, and the bottom one, IV, means he's at stage 4, also known as champion or adult. Next along here we can see our Digimon's level and their experience points. So when we're out battling in quest mode, which we'll talk about later, we earn experience points, which levels us up and makes us stronger. So here we can see he's at level 4 and he's at 306 experience points. Here's our battle record. So I've won 97 out of 124 battles, which is 78%. And that's that. Next menu is the food icon. This is where all our items are found. So if your Digimon's hungry, you feed him a meat. And if his strength is depleted, you can feed him a pill or train him. Also, when in quest mode, which again I will talk about later, you win items, and your items can be found here. So you scroll further down using the A button. Here you can see I've got a big meat, which will entirely fill up his hunger from whatever stage it is. One of these will just completely fill it back up. Big pill, which does the same thing but for strength. Here is a HP chip, so this is used when going into the quest mode. So if you feed your Digimon an item like this, the stats will apply until they lose their next quest battle. The item's effects will actually last until the end of the next quest area that you explore, or if you lose in the next quest battle. So the HP chip will obviously boost his HP. This is the power dice. This means that in the next quest mode game, all my rolls will be a 7, which we'll talk about later. And here in the instructions, you can see a list of all the items that are in there and what they actually do. So yeah, feel free to pause now and just have a quick read. Next up, training. This icon with a punch bag. We click on this and we've got two options, normal or excite. Now we'll do normal first. So now we've got to stop that pin on the peak, like so. So that was on the highest peak, so that's the best one, which is known as the excellent hit, and that will give us our close-up attack. Check this out. Look at that, how sick is that? Sangloopmon's close-up looking sick. And this means he will fight his hardest, so if you can get this before a battle, you've got the best chances of winning. And we've got an excellent hit there, and that's the best. So you can see that there are 3 different levels. There's the highest one, which is critical hit, excellent hit. The second highest one is great, and the third highest one is good. So on either of those 3, your Digimon's going to fight well. But if you let it time out like I just did, or go on the area where there is no black markers, you will get your weak hit, which will be bad. That's bad. And your Digimon doesn't like that. You've upset him. We've upset the Digimon. We've upset the Blood Wolf. Next up, we've got Excite, which is exactly the same mini game, but this time the speed of the pin will be determined by your daily roll, which we will talk about later. The difference is, if you successfully train using Excite, you get better boosts from it. Next up is probably my favourite thing about the Digimon X, Quest Mode. That's the little trophy icon. Click on that. Here we can see our daily quest roll, which I will talk about later in the Xi or dice part of this video. And here we are up to area 11. So we can explore area 11 by selecting it, and we can see the boss of area 11 is Metal Greymon X. Scary stuff. So those little markers are the stages of each area, and the first stage is Agumon X. Let's kick some ass. So now we do our battle roll. This is before every battle, and this will determine the speed in which the pin moves. We've rolled a 6, so the pin's going to move nice and slow, thus making it easier to get our excellent hit. Easy peasy. So here we go. Battle begin. Dan 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 dan. We've dodged it. Can't touch this dude. Go, Sangloopmon! It's very important to cheer on your Digimon when you're battling, because see, we thrashed him. Yeah, celebrate, dude. You've earned it, mate. You've earned it. And because we beat him, we've earned 14 experience points, which contribute to our level, like I explained earlier. Next up, Dracomon X. And yeah, as you can see, you rinse and repeat. You go through each of those stages. You have to win to get to the next bit, and then when you get to the boss and you defeat him, you will unlock the next area. Also, while exploring quest mode, you may stumble upon a rest area. This is an opportunity to give your Digimon some meat, because the Digimon in this device use their hunger to battle. There is no DP in this. So feed them up. If they run out of hunger during a battle, they will be forced to retire. So always make sure you give them a little bit of a snack for their hard work. And then press next to continue. See that R? That's for rest area. Next along is flush, because yes, your Digimon can crap. It's not a glamorous job, but someone's got to clean it. And you can clean it by pressing B on the flush icon. Next up is the lights. Now this is one of the defining features of the Digimon X. So currently Sanglupmon is awake. However, if we select lights and we select off, he is paused, he is frozen, he's put into cold mode, and he's literally just crammed into a freezer. Not very ethical, but it's very practical. So now he's completely paused. No effects are going to change. It's a complete pause, and it stays paused forever until you turn it on again. So to turn it back on again, you go to the lights and you turn it on. And here he is, good as new, and totally not going to murder you in your sleep for putting him in a freezer. And then the other thing that you use lights for is when it's your Digimon's bedtime. You will see an animation where he's looking sleepy, like so. So there he is, like, come on, tired, let me sleep. You go to the lights and you turn them off. Then the Zs will appear, which means your Digimon is safely tucked up and snug as a bug and having a nice, well-earned sleep. Next up, the bandage. You use the bandage to cure sickness or injury. Next up, the log, the journal. So here is where we can back up our Digimon. I'm going to sample in a clip of me doing so in another video because I don't want to do it on this one right now. But you can use this to save your current Digimon and start a new egg. So at any point you can just save it, start a new one, and yeah, start a new journey. Or it's particularly good because let's say you raise your Digimon all the way up to Mega, you can store him and then you can start a new Digimon adventure, and then if one of your friends rocks up and you're only a rookie, you can bring out your Mega level Digimon and kick some ass. Amazing. Next along, library. Now this is another really cool part, so we can see all the Digimon. This is the Digidex. We can see them with their names, but we can also see the ones we haven't raised because you have to unlock certain evolutions. So here you can see 3, 4, 5 Harrismon, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, there was no 11. Went 10 to 13, which means slot 11 and slot 12 have not been unlocked yet. And you unlock these by clearing certain areas in the quest mode. So it's a good incentive to get out into quest mode and battle loads of cool Digimon. And last is record, which is your overall battle record. Next up is connection. So if you want to battle someone else with a Digimon X, you use the X one, so this will give you all the animations, all the X battle features. Really, really cool. But if you want to battle someone with a Digimon device that's not the Digimon X, you can try other. Now this is compatible with most Digimon devices. Not all, but most. Definitely all modern devices, and definitely with the Digimon originals. With any others, it's probably worth asking around first. And last up is the call icon. Now this will light up when your Digimon needs something, and it will also beep. If the Digimon's requirement hasn't been met within 20 minutes, the call light will go back off again, and that will count as a care mistake. So that's all the menus. Okay, next up you can view the time by pressing B, and you can change the time by pressing A and C at the same time. Next up, mute. You can mute this device by pressing A and C at the same time. There you go, completely muted. And here is my top tip, my ultra #1 advice. If you're buying or raising a Digimon X, remember this if you don't remember anything else. When you go to bed at night, mute this thing. I'm telling you from experience, this thing makes a racket because the Digimon in this device can digivolve in their sleep, and when your Digimon digivolves it obviously makes a lot of noise, and then once you've filled a new slot in your library it makes a lot of noise, and then when your Digimon wakes up it does its daily roll, which makes a lot of noise, and then your random events can happen pretty early in the morning, which makes a lot of noise. So I'm telling you from experience, mute these things and just unmute them when you wake up, or it is just gonna you're going to lose a lot of sleep. Okay, next up, let's talk about the Xi, or the dice. The Xi is a 7-sided dice. The XAI stands for X-Antibody Indicator. And there are 3 separate Xi rolls that you need to know about. First one is the daily Xi roll. Now, every day when your Digimon wakes up, it will roll a dice. And the daily Xi roll affects 2 things. It will affect the frequency of random events, which can either be a wild Digimon coming up and attacking you, or your Digimon finding you an item, which is pretty cool. So the higher the roll, the more frequently you will get random events. A random event is signified by an exclamation mark appearing on the screen and your Digimon calling out to you. And it also affects training. It affects the Excite training. So when you go to Excite, the speed of the pin will be determined by your daily roll. The next Xi roll is the Quest roll. The first time each day that you enter quest mode, you will roll another Xi, and that will stay with you all day. And that will affect the strength of the enemies you are facing. So the lower the roll, the stronger the enemies. The higher the roll, the weaker the enemies. So if you roll a 7, it's a good day to push on and try and clear some areas. And then the last one is the battle roll, and this is every time you have a battle you will roll, and that will just determine the speed that the pin moves in that little mini game. Next up, evolution requirements. One of the most exciting things about Digimon is the branching evolution paths, watching your little baby grow and change depending on how well you take care of it. And on the Digimon X, there are a number of things that will affect who your Digimon becomes. First up is your Digimon's effort. Some evolutions will require full effort, some will require no effort, and some in between. So when you're on your journeys, experiment keeping your Digimon at different effort levels. Next up is level, is your Digimon's level. So some evolutions will require you to be at maximum level, some will require you to be at a low level. And again, this can be tricky because if you get a random event and a Digimon appears and attacks you and you win, you're going to get experience points and you're going to level up. So it's a good little challenge trying to go steer for different things. But again, it's well worth experimenting by keeping your Digimon at different levels to see who you can get. Next up is a classic one that will be familiar to people that have raised Digimon in the past, but I will explain it to you in case you haven't. Care mistakes. This is predominant in all Digimon VPEX that I know about. So a care mistake is counted when your Digimon's call light comes on and it is not being resolved in 20 minutes, the call light will go off. Once that call light's gone off without you fixing the issue, that will be counted as a care mistake. These are invisible, there's no way in the device to see how many care mistakes you've got. You just have to make a mental note of it or keep a little notepad or something. And again, some Digimon need no care mistakes, which can be tricky if you're busy. Or some Digimon will want 3 care mistakes, for example. So yeah, and lastly, one other thing that can affect your Digimon's evolution is which Digimon you battle against. So in quest mode you will see Digimon from all stages, from baby all the way up to Mega Plus, and certain evolution paths will need you to have battled a certain stage of Digimon, which I think is amazing. If you want to know more about evolution, I highly recommend checking out the Digitama Hatchery website. However, I recommend checking it out after your first few runs. It is way more fun to explore these things on your own. If you go straight in there and just start following evolution guides, then I think you lose a little bit of the magic. I think it's really exciting for the first couple of runs at least to just experiment and see what you can get. But when you get to the point when you've raised the same one a few times, you should definitely consider checking out the Digitama Hatchery, because the guys that work on that website have mapped out how you can get every Digimon in every modern device, including the Digimon X. So yeah, I'll leave a link to that in the description box. One more thing about Digivolution is something I get asked about a lot. How long do they take to Digivolve? I'm just going to show you this chart, which is in the instruction manual. Here you can see how long it takes to get to each stage. 10 minutes to Digivolve from baby 1 to baby 2, 12 hours for baby 2 to rookie, 24 from rookie to champion, 36 from champion to ultimate, 40 from ultimate to mega, 48 from mega to ultra, mega plus, super duper badass. So that's all about your Digimon's life. What about death? When your Digimon dies, it will either leave behind a computer or a shiny egg. If you've taken great care of your Digimon, you will get the shiny egg. By hatching a shiny egg, it means that each stage your Digimon will start at level 3, so less grinding. If your Digimon dies of illness or injury, or you've just not been very nice to it, your Digimon will leave behind the PC and you will start over at level 1 again, basically. And to get your new egg, to hatch out your new egg, you press down A and B at the same time and your egg or your computer will hatch. Next up, batteries. What batteries do they take? They take CR2032s. What is the X-Antibody? The X-Antibody is something that makes a Digimon immune to the X program. The X program was created by King Drazel, also known as Yggdrasil, who is effectively the god of the digital world. They are the computer system that runs it all and oversees all of it. King Drazel became increasingly concerned about the mass growth of the digital world and decided it was time for a bit of a cull. So he created the X program, which was effectively a way of pressing delete on most of the digital world's inhabitants to try and regain some kind of control. Unfortunately for King Drazel, some Digimon were natural carriers of the X-Antibody. Digimon like Doraemon, for example, is not known as Doraemon X because there is no form of Doraemon that exists without the X-Antibody. He's a natural carrier of it. And some Digimon were able to acquire the X-Antibody, which mutates the Digimon so it gives them a badass new form and makes them immune to King Drazel just pressing delete. So for example, here is Metal Greymon and here is Metal Greymon X. They're not the same. The X version is typically just a more powered up version of the same Digimon. Again, I will leave a link to several resources covering it in more detail because I'm sure I may have got something wrong in that explanation, but long story short, an X-Antibody Digimon is a more badass version of the regular form of that Digimon. Okay, I hope I've covered everything. I'm sure I will have missed something. If I have, please feel free to fire questions at me in the comments. I'll do my very best to answer any question you've got for me, and if I don't, I'm sure someone else will help you out because there's so much depth to these devices. These are so immersive. There's so much cool stuff going on. There's every chance that I've missed something. If you want to see more of the Digimon X, I've got loads of content already where I've been playing with the Japanese version. It's exactly the same apart from the text, and that the English version is actually a better build quality. I will leave a link again to more content on these. I would highly recommend and request that you check out my Vlog Pets run on them. It's my most recent touch on the Japanese versions of these, and I had a great time filming it, and I feel like it's a good example of my typical kind of videos on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this has helped you make your decision whether you're going to get this thing or not. I would highly recommend you do, and I would highly recommend this to anyone that's curious about checking out the wonderful world of Digimon V-Pets. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay ace, keep rocking. Peace.